Good morning and welcome to the Raben Report. I'm your host, Elliot Raben, so get ready to get triggered. Good morning and welcome to the Raben Report. I'm your host, Elliot Raben, as you might have heard in our intro, and with me I have part of our expert panel, Daniel and Tamar. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Fantastic.
Well, that's good to hear. And as Marshall is away today at the Manning Conference, in his place we have special guest Jennifer Adler to help us cover today's main topic. Thank you for being here, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me.
Now, as per Spirit Live rules and regulations, all opinions expressed on the show are not those of Ryerson or Ryerson faculty and are only those of the individual commentators. Viewer discretion is advised. So let's start with our recap of the week. The first thing, we're going to start on a happy note, is it's actually Marshall's birthday today, right? So
Yes, that's true.
happy birthday to you, Marshall. And it's actually somebody else's birthday. Whose birthday is it, Tamar?
It's Ruben's birthday.
Ruben? Who's Ruben?
Ruben's my husband and the guy, the guest we had on the first couple shows.
That's awesome. So happy birthday to the two of these guys. They're amazing. Marshall's been with the show forever. Ruben has been an amazing guest so many times so far on this season, and we're so happy that they get to celebrate another birthday. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to sadder news. Unfortunately, there was another religious involved event in which a priest was
It's a
stabbed.
difficult way to put
it's
in words.
yeah.
A
I know
religious
what you mean.
involved event.
It
Religion.
involved religion. I'll say it there.
So
Religiously motivated.
Does not surprise me.
that's what I wanted to say, but I don't know if it was. But
Yeah.
a priest in Montreal was stabbed on live TV.
Yeah.
It was
by
weird. Like I
some-
saw it.
But it wasn't live TV.
It was,
no,
it was a
it
Facebook
was.
stream. It was
Yeah,
a
Yeah.
Facebook
stream.
Live.
Yeah.
But the thing about it was, hold
Yeah.
on, I'm just gonna check right now. The thing about it was, you just see him. He's just chilling in the first pew or something, in the first aisle, and then
Someone
just-
comes up.
he just walks up, and then he realized he has to go around, and it's gonna take a while. And then I think the priest finally realized the knife's on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then he gets like one stab in or something like that. But
Yeah.
after that, like the public just crowds him and stuff like that, and they like basically like disarm him with the knife. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It was pretty weird. Like
I feel like it was pretty random,
yeah,
to
it
be
doesn't-
honest.
I don't make it seem like to be very religiously motivated in the like as an
Yeah.
example, like with Christchurch or anything other like that. Like this seems.
But how do you
Different.
know, though?
What do you mean?
You don't know yet because
Exactly.
there hasn't. But I mean, even if you look at the attack,
I'm
like,
just looking from the video evidence. It's
yeah,
like-
and also it's not like he went and targeted like the whole
you
church.
didn't hear him say anything. Like,
Yeah.
or he did, like if someone's gonna do something like that, they're not gonna use a knife. They're
Yeah.
People
gonna-
people
But
have different motivations.
Not necessarily. I don't think it's about that. I think it's just like you look at it. He wasn't going for like a mass killing. He had like obviously a very
Maybe he has some
specific-
beef with the priest or something. Maybe it was this.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it was. Yeah, maybe he had some like I don't know. Like we gotta figure it out. Like it's been like a couple days.
Yeah.
So we just gotta wait until the reports come out. But it's yeah. I'm very curious to see. Maybe we'll find out what's gonna happen for the next episode. But
It's just it's sad anytime that something like involving a place of worship and people are harmed in it. It's upsetting because it should be a safe haven for people,
right.
Yeah.
and it shouldn't happen. But let's move on to another story. Not too much to talk about here, but the Mueller report has finally been finished, and 4 pages of it, his findings have been sent to congresspeople and to the media. That information being that there have been no findings of collusion between Trump and
I know we have
Russia.
yeah.
But congresspeople, the Democrats, are asking for the whole report to be released to the public because they still believe that there may be some evidence there. So Mueller said that, or Barr, one of the prosecutors said that there was no evidence, but that doesn't mean that Trump is completely exonerated. You know, what does this mean? Is the whole report going to be revealed?
I'm already losing sleep, like going to sleep the more you talk about it. Because it's like, I mean, everyone talks about the Mueller report as if it's this big
Yeah.
thing,
Big
right?
finding.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, and even like we had a discussion like in our chat, like Marshall said it. It's like oh, like, what did the Mueller report find? Is like
A whole lot of
nothing.
nothing.
A whole lot of
Well-
nothing. It's like, I would have told you that for free. Like, that's what Marshall basically
Well,
said.
that's
It's
the
like,
thing is that it's been such a talked about topic. What is that noise?
I don't know.
Does everybody hear that?
Well, I'm
I
gonna
feel
make
like
sure
someone's
don't-
just moving.
There you go. Hold on.
Oh, tomorrow. Is it?
No, I'm just doing. To see what it is
Stay
with
on my chair just in case.
But
No, but didn't 5 people got sentenced to prison? No.
from the Mueller report.
Was
But
that
it's
not
no
what
one
happened?
it's no one from a high authority or anything
Yeah.
like that, was it? It's like,
Michael Cohen.
and
that was earlier
Yeah,
though. That was
yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah.
But
He
we'll,
would have
we'll-
gone to jail either way for something
Yeah.
else. So that's
the reason I bring it up is because the Democrats have been waiting for this, and so have the Republicans. Everybody's wanted to see this report, and now that it's come out, and I don't know, it's
it wasn't what they wanted it to be.
yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
anticlimactic
They
in a
wanted it
sense.
to be enough the grounds for an impeachment for Trump, but it's like we've been like how many years into like the Trump government? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I also feel like
what's
I
the
don't
point, you know?
I don't really get this whole impeachment thing because first of all, just because you impeach someone doesn't mean they're going to be gone from office.
Exactly.
Nixon
Wasn't-
only left because
wasn't-
he
Yeah.
resigned after.
Wasn't Bill Clinton impeached?
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. But even that, like, what do you want to end up with Mike Pence? That's even worse,
Yeah.
in my opinion,
That's
because Mike
literally-
Pence is like just as shitty, if not shittier.
No, it's
But-
okay.
Okay.
No,
Can I swear in here?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
it's
but,
definitely
like,
shittier.
he's
than,
brighter, like not in a good way. He's like an evil genius, and Trump's just like an idiot. Like,
Like, he's
I'd
the one
rather
calling the
yeah,
shots.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather not that person be in charge. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
oh,
yeah.
he's
Interesting.
horrible. Sorry, I'm trying to like fix like the levels while I'm doing that, but no, he's advocated like he's very staunch Christian, like in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like and there's nothing wrong with Christianity.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
He ties his political views way too close with the spirituality,
Right.
and it's just
Yeah, he doesn't separate church and state.
exactly
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm like,
Uh,
he runs it like almost like he would run it like a theocracy is what I would.
Yeah.
look at.
Yeah. I
So
feel
then-
like. Sorry.
Well, then
I was-
people should just be weary of impeaching Trump, and
Yeah.
if you don't want Pence, then you got to keep Trump. Otherwise, in the next election, just vote.
Or yeah, like just work towards like winning the next
I
election.
saw some
Exactly.
I saw some people they're trying to put themselves on the Republican primary for 2020.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Even
there's
though they're Democrats, or
no
That'll
Republican
oh,
be
okay,
for the
got it.
national convention for the
Got it.
Republicans.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So like,
Well,
I don't
heard
think that has any like real weight to it yet. I
Yeah.
think it's more
I-
important to find the right Democrat to go against Trump.
I heard
Yeah.
Joe Biden might be running.
I think
Yeah,
that's a
heard that
mistake.
also.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders should not be running.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders like hit his head on like a glass or something. You see him walking with this huge.
He looks like
fan.
Gorbachev now.
It's like
That's
you're
what he looks
too
like.
old.
He's so cute.
Bernie
though.
Sanders-
He,
I
like,
love the
reminds me
man.
of like a
He
nice
would
like
be a good
Jewish
vice president.
grandfather.
I'll get
Yeah,
him as
no,
a vice
I mean
president.
like I love the man. If he was like not his age, I'd say like yeah.
He just seems like he's always chasing a bus.
It's
You know what
also
I mean?
just like I don't understand. Like the United States is like a democracy, and what's he like? He wants to be like a dictator, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Bernie.
Bernie, yeah, like he's all into socialism, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like that's not how the United States is.
You saw him like stand up on this podium and he was talking about the Mueller report and he was like, I don't want the summary, I want the whole fucking
Yeah.
thing, and they like bleeped him and it was
Oh my God.
whatever.
Wow.
But we can definitely, even have an episode on the next elections coming up, hopefully. But another thing that you guys wanted to talk
boy,
about was
Alexander King.
Ford and how he's investing, or they want to make classroom sizes in high schools larger.
yeah, that's ridiculous. Beyond.
Yeah, so they want to increase the average from 30 to around like 50, 52 or something.
In
like
one
Yeah.
class.
So
In
what
one
are they
class.
trying
Jesus.
to gain by that?
I think it's a matter of saving money, and I don't like personally. Even I don't agree with that because the education minister said that.
I'm trying
we
to formulate my
lack-
devil's advocate
we-
argument right now while you do that.
Well,
Go ahead.
she said that we lack resilience, or high school students lack resilience, and by putting more of them in one classroom, it'll be better. But I think it's the opposite. I think personally, if you have more kind of one-on-one support or less people in the room, so the teacher can focus on
Yeah.
the individual students, that aids in learning. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
I
so
know,
I have a question though. That's for public schools in general.
I think so. Yes.
Okay, because when I went
High
to-
schools though. I don't
high
know if it's
schools, yeah.
elementary. Yeah.
So when I went to private school, and my classes, I think I had like some years I had 19 people in my class, some years I had 20 people in my class. And the thing that was so good about that was that one, we formed a really, I guess, close relationship with the teachers. Like I was
Yeah.
able to go up to them, I was able to, ask for help, and that really helped. That was really helpful when I came to university. I was so used to that I had no problem going to my profs and forming relationships with them whenever I need a like help on an assignment or if I need extra time doing it, my prof has no issue doing it. My prof has no issue writing me a reference letter. I have no problem going and speaking to them. And I think that's a skill that I learned from being in such a small class in high school.
And it's definitely harder to do that in a bigger high school.
Yeah.
Like for me personally, like, my school was like 2,200. Shout out to STA. It's pretty whack, but it's okay. I still liked it. It's for at least like 50% of it. We're not getting into that right now. The point is the class sizes were about 30, maybe a bit more, like 35 sometimes and stuff like that. And I can totally see what you're coming from. Like I only made like genuine connections with about 30-40% of my teachers out there, because it's hard to talk to them because like so many they're not only do they have so many courses that they're teaching, like they're not going to remember every single student just because it's a bigger school. It's like it's at least easier in university because they have office hours and you can go actually get a like a 1-to-1 with them. Even if it's only like 30 minutes, that'll still help in the long run.
You know,
I know.
You don't do that in high school,
I know someone who teaches. She's a teacher, and a lot of her students have learning disabilities and stuff. So that kind of makes it hard to focus on them and give them like the help they need individually when you have so many students kind of to take care of. And it kind of like, I guess like you would only have teaching that kind of generalizes the students, like that doesn't. Yeah.
And definitely we'll have to see what comes out of it. But let's now move on to our main story, which is veganism. Now, according to research from Dalhousie University, there are 2.3 million vegetarians in Canada, up from 900,000 15 years ago. Another 850,000 people consider themselves vegan. Those two numbers add up to 9.4% of the Canadian population. And in the U.S., there's been a 600% increase in people identifying as vegans in the last 3 years. According to a report... According to a report by research from Global Data, only 1% of U.S. consumers claimed to be vegan in 2014. And in 2017, that number rose to 6%. So what's behind this growth? On today's show, we find out. Before we start, remember that we are live on Facebook, so make sure to comment on our feed to have your thoughts read live on air. So Jennifer, first question's obviously going to be to you as the resident vegan of the episode. Why did you become vegan?
If I'm being completely honest, like, I know one of the topics we're kind of discussing, like, is it a fad? For me, like, it started that way. Like, I was just like, yeah, like, this seems cool. Why not? Okay. But, like, as I got into it, it became more about animal rights and environmentalism, which I think is, like,
that's the
main.
Priority.
Yeah, exactly.
Very interesting. So,
I was about to make a vegan joke.
Oh, it's a table.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah, so let's... so then...
You're a vegan legend, Jen, according to your friend Habiba.
Oh, shout out to Habiba.
So then, now we know, why you became vegan. It started just as a fad, but how come being vegetarian wasn't necessarily enough for you? Why did you choose veganism?
Well, I feel like people kind of mainly just focus on me as like the worst part of the animal agriculture industry. But dairy production is, first of all, eating dairy is
unhealthy.
just as
it's not
bad
good for you.
Yeah, no, it's not good for you.
Yeah, it's pretty unhealthy.
And even like with regards to eggs, which is like
No,
with regards to that's a little bit different for me. It's not eating the egg. It's the conditions. Like I was talking to my friend about this, Habiba, actually, and she used to have pet chickens, pet hens. And I was saying like there is like in a way, like, animals have this thing kind of like humans. Like, you know how when, like, humans have jobs, like, they feel better about themselves. They feel like they have a purpose. Animals have that, too. So, like...
In a farm,
yeah. Well, not even, like... I wouldn't say
not
in
like
a farm.
A massively industrialized
No, but, like,
farm,
if you have, like, if you have, like, pet chickens or something and you eat their eggs, it's like a loving relationship between a human and an animal. So, like... but the point is, like, in these farms, like, it obviously doesn't go that way. So, like, that's where I stand on eggs. But yeah.
Very interesting. And I'm actually, going to talk more about the question about, farming and all that. But let's first talk about, has it been hard being a vegan, financially, socially?
Socially.
Like, isn't vegan stuff more expensive?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
isn't healthy stuff more
Okay.
expensive in general?
Yeah, well...
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Pause.
There's
Like
there's a difference though.
Produce, yes. Okay, produce, sure, we can talk about produce. But if we're actually talking about, like, is veganism expensive? Like, only if you want it to be, obviously.
Like if you go to a fancy
yeah,
vegan
if you
restaurant.
go and eat some like freaking coconut yogurt or like cashew cheese, that shit's expensive. But like some of the, let's compare like your protein versus mine. How much is a chicken breast? How much are lentils and beans?
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
How much is tofu? $2.
Yeah, I have a question though. Is that okay if I ask?
Yeah.
So it's actually very interesting. I met this person who is vegan this summer, and he was like very much like vegan, vegan, vegan. But what confused me, and I might have spoken to you about this before, but what very much confused me is that he would go to like McDonald's, which, you know, it has tons and tons of history, you know, factory farming, of being cruel to the animals and the meat that they're producing. He'd go to McDonald's and he would buy like a vegan
Pies
or something
Yeah, like
a
the
vegan
apple pie is vegan.
no, they have some vegan options. I don't know, I don't eat there, but
Yeah.
he would go and he'd buy a vegan option there. So I would ask him, like, I don't get it. Like, if you're vegan, not just for, you know, the dietary reasons, but also for the social and for, you know, for animal rights reasons, why would you go to a store that still does that? Like, you're still supporting them, even if you're not physically buying that item. So, like, for you
That's a good
as a
point.
vegan, how do you feel in terms of something like that?
Okay, so that's actually interesting you brought that up because McDonald's is coming out with vegan chicken nuggets.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And then also like we
Oh,
can talk
God.
about the Beyond Meat burger.
Yeah.
A&W. So like
I've had one before.
yeah,
Actually.
they're actually really good, like in my opinion. But
Is it plant-based or something?
it's plant based. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's rolling his eyes,
It's okay.
but he hasn't even tried it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, French fries are vegan, right? No?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Not
Like,
necessarily. Depends on the
the
oil they use.
yeah. But some people are
Ah.
less strict. I don't know, like everyone does it differently. But the point is,
Well, poutine could be if you use a vegetable-based.
yeah,
gravy
a
instead,
lot of them
right?
are vegetable based.
Yeah.
Like you just don't get the
well,
cheese.
poutine is cheese.
Yeah. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Fries and gravy.
You can't go without the cheese curds.
Yes, you can.
That's the thing, though. Like,
you can go very well with it.
that's my only issue with vegan for me personally is because I have a personal connection with cheese. Okay, I really
Personal
like
connection.
it.
Everyone
It's
thinks
so
they have a
good.
personal
I,
connection
so
with
excuse
cheese.
good.
me, I don't.
I don't even eat-
I'm an Ashkenaz Jewish girl.
I don't even-
I am so allergic to cheese.
Fun fact: Daters has vegan matzo ball soup.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, but it's not even me for like it's not like I consume a bunch of like red meat or anything like that. Me and my family, we've probably cut that out a lot. We barely eat it like twice, maybe a week, or like we'll eat fish like once a week. We'll try to do that instead. But most of our stuff is like beans, like
Yeah.
refried
Yeah.
beans, black beans, lentils, stuff like that, soups
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But it's the cheese. That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
consume
Okay, I'm
cheese
gonna get
and
back
eggs
to
go
and
back to
more.
my
It's
question.
just-
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Sorry.
you're literally like,
Yeah,
I
My
get
bad.
it. I don't want to
Totally
hear
off.
about your dinner, but
My bad.
but
So nice having a sassy girl here with me.
Important.
so about that. Okay,
Just saying nothing.
I think
It's just
I agree with the McDonald's thing, but I think at the same time, like if A&W is selling a Beyond Meat burger, or if McDonald's is selling like vegan chicken nuggets, like if people start buying that shit, then like sure you're kind of contributing it, but you're also kind of pushing the demand for it too.
Right, but they're not getting rid of their other options. Like, they're
That's-
not turning vegan.
no,
all
but
this
it's become
stuff-
it's become part of the mainstream
Yeah,
though,
like,
like with
the
Elliott's
point is, like,
statistics.
None of this stuff's gonna change like overnight, but it like it's a work in progress type of thing. Like it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, well, I
Well-
mean, that's the
But I won't
sorry.
buy for me personally. Just to answer it straightforwardly, like I won't
Yeah.
buy from McDonald's. And McDonald's is just bad in so many ways.
That's
like
true.
you know what I mean? Like just like, but at the
Health-wise,
same time, also let's think about accessibility and like many people do like eat a lot of fast food because that's what they have access to.
Yeah,
So
it's-
like that's the thing is
That's
it,
more of a health problem than it is more than just like something that affects vegans personally, right? It's
well
like,
yeah
a lot of
it's-
people just eat unhealthy food.
Well,
But
yeah,
it's also a
because it's
societal
more-
issue
it's also
because it's
yeah,
cheaper.
so that
Yeah.
because it's cheaper exactly.
right.
So if you have like vegan options, like it can make it accessible for everyone and not just like the middle upper class
And not even just to have vegan as a vegan option, but even as just a healthier option. Like,
yeah
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
someone like as much as I'm doing all of like the size and all that stuff, it's like that's actually like a realistic option, and I would eat it. It's like the only issue that held me back was I think a couple of days ago. I was like on the go train with a friend, and she gave me like tofu butter chicken.
Oh, it's so good, isn't
No,
it?
I love the sauce, but the tofu was just not. I just didn't appreciate. Maybe it was just because it was cubed, like in a massive cube.
Yeah,
thing.
maybe or like
Maybe it just needs to be properly prepared, and I'd
Where'd you get
probably
it
eat
from?
it. I didn't ask that many questions. It was like something they made last night. And I'm like, okay, I'll try it. Like,
yeah.
But-
So
Yeah.
before we move on, I just
need to
want
find good
I
vegan
just want to go
options.
back
That's
to our poll from last night. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
we asked our audience the question: would you ever go vegan? And we actually got a lot of responses. So thank you to everyone that voted. We got 112
Wow.
people
Ooh.
respond to our poll, which
That's
is
more than, like,
huge,
ever.
literally. So of those responses, let's take a look at them. 42 people said, yes, I would, or I am. And 70 said never, ever. And percentage-wise, 37% said they would go vegan or are vegan, and 63% said never,
That's
ever.
pretty good. I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be a lot worse.
But considering,
Oh.
but considering that,
I voted yes for it, though. I was like, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
considering that 2019 is the year of the vegan,
Oh, is it? Is that a
It is.
thing?
It
the year of
is.
the vegan.
you know,
Ooh.
is that number going to change?
I know. So personally, I voted yes, I would consider going vegan. But I think for myself, the reason is because one, as I said, I'm like highly allergic to dairy, and two, I'm already pretty like I'm a pescatarian. I don't really eat meat. Kind of the only thing I do eat is fish. So, and a lot of like, fresh produce and like that kind of thing. So the only reason I could see myself not going vegan is because like I'm just like too lazy. No. Like
No,
I
yeah.
totally, I've always, even
I'll agree with
before,
that one.
even
I'll stand-
before
I'll
I
second
went,
that
I'm lazy.
no, I'll tell you.
But
Honestly,
for food, it's different.
honestly,
No, it's
I
the
totally agree. The like moral reasons you have behind it, I totally agree. And I know I sound like such a hypocrite with my moose knuckles coat behind me, but I know, huge hypocrite. I didn't want to come here.
You know,
today 'cause I
Tamara
knew-
messaged me and she was like, I've been avoiding you because my husband bought me a fur coat. And she's like, yeah, I've honestly been like,
I'm scared you're gonna judge me.
I think I saw someone that close to me with the Canadian goose, and I'm like, oh, so you're doing that now? All right, cool.
No, but I
That's
was
what it
that
is.
girl who
That's
would
the
like look
flex?
at people and be like, I
Yeah.
can't talk to you while you're wearing cruelty, literally. And then now I'm that. So
Okay.
I
I
honestly do feel bad about it, but it also was a very nice gift and it's warm, so
But see-
I don't know what
but see,
to do.
that's another product that benefits from like animals and stuff like that. And like I think veganism is something that's trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
Just profiting off of
Yeah,
animals as
yeah.
well.
the
Just for your own
exploitation.
enjoyment.
Yeah,
part of it,
exploitation more
Yeah.
than anything. Yeah.
Now
I
on-
hate that also when people post videos of dogs. I wonder, or like, how there's this new like baby fad where people like throw cheese at babies on Facebook.
I think I've seen a couple.
Oh yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
that.
and there's it's crazy. And then there's also this thing about dogs. It's kind of old. I think it was like the sheet challenge.
Yeah.
Where you held a sheet or a blanket up in front of a dog and then you ran away.
Yeah.
And like, what is that? And then you film it, and it's like just to like watch how the animal
Yeah.
reacts.
That's what we should do to Daniel. We should just start, since he loves cheese so much, we should just throw it right
Give
at
me the
him.
cheese grid.
Throw it at him.
No, not in a good way, like in a degrading way, like fuck.
I'd
Yeah.
still eat it.
No, but what about the social? I see a lot in the social justice community about how veganism is. Often people will say that like veganism is classist or veganism doesn't take into consideration other like different cultures, food cultures. So how does that fit in? Because I know you're also very involved in social justice, and how do you fit into that community if according to them it's not?
It's classist. No, like they're right in the sense, like I'm not saying, that's why I say I don't tell everyone right now, like go vegan, obviously, because it's not accessible for everyone. But the point is, like, we obviously need to move in that direction. And like, again, I'm not telling everyone to go vegan. I'm just saying if you can, like, if it's accessible for you, like whatever.
If
like,
you have the funds.
yeah, not even like the funds, because again, like,
Or even if you have access, because
Yeah.
like I'm pretty sure something like the Good Food Center, that's something that they could advocate
yeah,
for.
exactly.
Like to food that accommodates for all cultures.
Oh,
right?
they
So
do.
it's like-
They actually just
Yeah.
got. I don't know if they got it, but they're bringing in kosher food this week.
Yeah, like
that's great.
And they have
It's-
halal food. They have,
Yeah.
for
But see, that's
different
important
cultures.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. Like it's not going to happen overnight. We need to work towards it, and it needs to become more accessible. Whatever. But if you can do it, you better be doing it. Like
So, but I want to ask you, going back to the cruelty in animals, Jen. What are your thoughts on the idea of eating meat but still loving animals?
just to be blunt, I think it's kind of hypocritical. Not in a mean way. Like not like you're a terrible person. Just like. You love, if you like, are you talking about people who love their dogs? Like you don't love animals, you love pets.
There's a difference.
Yeah, between you loving pets and loving animals.
But then you get into like a very different territory, like because in some countries dogs are considered food too,
Yeah.
not pets.
Well, that's my
So-
argument.
It
I
just
don't.
Yeah, it's
depends
a
if the
westernized thing.
yeah, it just
Yeah.
depends if the animal is domesticated. Or
Yeah.
not, you
Well-
know?
well,
like, there's
my-
domesticated pigs and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
pigs
and
make great
They're so
pets.
intelligent. I would
do.
love a pig. I would
I would
hug it all the
freaking love a
time.
pig.
I would rub its belly like all the time.
Aw.
Like it's like
Yeah.
Like
Pigs are nice.
farm, like I think.
So, but I mean, in terms of, let's say, like, you know, you love cows, but you eat them, right? That's one of the arguments that's made.
Yeah. Well,
There's a question for Jen here in the comments. Perry says,
it's very
that's my
different, though.
uncle.
"Oh, hi, Jen's
very
uncle. Can plant life regenerate fast enough to sustain growing vegan populations?"
Of course, he asks me like this. Okay, can you read that again? But like,
Can plant life regenerate fast enough to sustain a growing vegan population?
well, most of the land being used right now
Is for agriculture.
is for agriculture. So yes, it's like we don't.
Most of it's actually used for producing
And
meat.
it's
though.
yeah, but like like it causes famine literally. So yeah, it can, but we need to move away from the animal agriculture area to make room for that.
What did you say before though with the animal thing?
Well, some people will say, you know, I love animals, but you know, like I love cows and I love this and I love that, but then
It's superficial with what they're
Yeah,
saying.
it is
Whatever they're
superficial.
saying is superficial because they don't have an actual connection to the animal.
Yeah.
They don't actually go to a farm and get to know like Milky and like pet her, you know? That's what I would name a
Did you
cow.
just call?
No cow
Milky.
is named Milky.
No,
My cow will be named Milky.
No, cows
Is-
are named Bessie. Always.
Bessie?
All right, we're moving
Bessie
on.
the cow. Seriously.
But the point
Moo-moo.
is like my point is like the people who are claiming to be animal lovers they're alienated from their connection
Yeah.
to animals.
Yeah, exactly.
Our society is completely different now. We don't have animals anymore in our general atmosphere. They're just domesticated animals that don't.
It's
that, you
true.
know?
Like even like talking about like China and the dog thing, like in India, the cow is sacred, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
something you like. So even like for Jews and Muslims, like we don't eat pigs. So like
no, we don't.
um
Well, actually, some of us do. I don't, but some.
yeah, some do. But
like pork
so it's
backwards.
really just a matter of
He's
like
Jewish and he eats pork.
Yeah,
love
and
that.
I
Wow.
want to, and I say I don't eat bacon though, so I tell people I'm kosher. But
What?
that doesn't make you kosher.
Pork
Yeah,
and bacon.
it's a joke.
Okay.
okay.
He eats
That's comedy.
the healthy one.
It's like Amy
Um,
Schumer.
but-
Yeah.
riddled with comedy.
But you know, I want to ask though, on the religious front, you know, being a Jew, a big
Jewish
part,
person.
a Jewish, huh?
Being a
Jewish person.
Same thing to me.
It's not the same thing. Jew has
Well.
historically been used as a.
All right. Anyways.
Okay.
No,
not a big
I'm
deal.
saying, no,
She's
no,
not wrong,
language
though.
matters.
She's not-
Language matters.
Equity training.
Okay, no.
stop.
Well, it's a
Stop,
matter
stop,
of not
stop.
being it used offensively. I'm not saying it offensively.
Okay.
So,
Anyways,
um,
back to
but-
the topic.
but
I do think tomorrow's ready for that
being a
aspect.
Jew or
No,
Jewish
I agree, I
person,
agree.
you know, milk and meat are big parts of Jewish diets. So how do you factor that in while still, you know, remaining, you know, culturally and religiously Jewish, but not eating those?
Is veganism something secular or is it religious? It's not, right?
It's not
It does,
religious
yeah,
based.
It's
It's
not.
not
I don't
at
think this
all,
has
right?
anything,
Right, but
like,
I think he's asking a different question.
like, is it
Like,
like how is it like to be a Jewish person?
Because you're saying you're basically
think-
saying that the Jewish diet is incompatible with.
No,
It is.
No,
he's saying
that's
the
not what I
opposite.
said.
He's
So
then
actually
what-
saying the opposite. As someone who is a kosher observant
I'm just
person,
confused
I
about
think
how you
I
said it
probably
then.
No,
best
like
suited
I
to
get what
answer
you're
it.
saying. Like it's actually true. Like whenever I go for like whether it be like Yom Kippur or Passover, like I go to my family a lot.
Yeah, most things are vegan.
Like no, actually, I was gonna say the.
Oh,
Like
really?
a lot isn't. Yeah, but like even I went to my family's once and
You have to come to us. We only have vegan.
stuff. Yeah, no, but you are right. A lot of I eat a lot of kosher stuff. Like parv, like
And it's not even on purpose.
Yeah,
it
it's
ends
not
up
even on
being
purpose.
kosher.
I literally eat a lot of kosher stuff. But in terms of like actual just normal Jewish food, like yeah, it actually is pretty hard. I went one time to my family's and she gave me this thing. I don't know if you've had like sweet potato with marshmallows. Anyway, okay, it sounds
okay.
I didn't
weird,
know
but
that's
it's
a
a thing.
Jewish food.
And she was like, "Oh, like you can have the marshmallows because they're kosher. It's not pig gelatin." And it was ended up being fish
gelatin. Yeah, that's in it.
yeah. But I actually do think that's pretty hard. But there are things like like
So you-
bagels. I don't know.
You were saying it
The
was already
bagels
hard
aren't
for
vegan.
that
They're
to
Not
work?
all of them.
Not always.
Some
You're saying it was
Montreal
hard
ones
for
are.
both of those to like.
Well,
well,
I
I'm
think I can
yeah.
answer Elliot's question because I do observe
I was just a
kosher.
little confused. I was like,
Yeah. So maybe my answer can make it like kind of enlighten you. Within the Torah, it does say that on I don't know if it's actually in the Torah, but whatever. Anyways, you're supposed to eat fish and meat on Shabbat,
Yeah,
Friday
I know.
night
Yeah.
and Saturday.
Passover, you have like the Seder plate and it has like
Yeah, it has a shank bone on it. I actually
an
know a
egg.
lot of people who don't use that.
yeah.
But regardless, when I was actually in must have been grade 6, and I was in a Jewish school, I I started going vegetarian. I don't know why. I just decided I was going to go vegetarian. And I told my teacher, and my teacher was like, no, it's against the Torah to be vegetarian. And then the reason she said it was against the Torah was because you're obligated to, like what would happen in the times of like biblical times is that we would use animals as
You'd sacrifice.
yeah, as sacrifices, and you weren't allowed to waste it because there's another part of Judaism called bal tashchit, which means
That makes sense.
to waste.
Okay.
So you had to eat it and use the skins or whatever, and it was made for other different stuff within Jewish law. It also there's just a whole bunch about it, but also within Judaism, we have that being said, we have so much. Within our like the 7 Noahide laws, one of them is you can't take a Aver Min HaChai. You're not allowed. Sorry, that was Hebrew. You can't take a limb from a living animal.
Yeah.
When you kill an animal, I'm not saying nowadays it's actually done properly, but theoretically, for meat to be kosher, the animal needs to be killed in the least painful way with a super
Isn't it the
sharp
same
knife.
as halal?
Halal is very similar.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to eat the blood of the animal because, like, you're not allowed to be bloodthirsty. You're only allowed to eat animals that are calm and have split hooves. Like, there's a lot of specific rules.
So this specific practices would go against with what's going on with veganism?
No, not necessarily. Well, kind of. I'm saying
Because
that's
it
what
would
was.
still be meat, though, right?
So yeah, but I'm just saying that within Judaism, meat plays a very it plays an important role. Like when you have a festive meal, you're supposed to have fish and meat. You're supposed to have
Right.
that kind of thing. But just because you're supposed to have it doesn't mean that by not having it, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah,
I
you're
get-
not.
okay, that
You're
makes sense.
definitely not
That's-
doing
okay,
It's not like
something
a
wrong.
sin if
Yeah,
you like.
But-
don't
it's not
eat
a
it.
sin if you don't
But
eat
being
meat and fish on
just
Shabbat.
as part of a Jewish family, it's the majority of people would say do it. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
So again,
I don't
back to
think
the
that they should
socially
be
and
pressured to.
My mom's vegetarian.
there's not a
too,
matter of
Yeah.
pressure. I'm
Right.
just asking.
Ruben and I have very Jewish food, and
There
we're
is
pretty
like
vegetarian.
there is sometimes a matter of like pressure when I go to like family.
Yeah, I feel like that would make
Yeah.
sense, right?
But yeah, no, there's definitely that. But there are there's this me and my friend really like this restaurant. It's called King's, and it's like a completely vegetarian, vegan Chinese restaurant. So like there are
Okay.
there are cultures that are like it's like it's like a work in progress type
yeah.
of thing. But yeah, no, there's definitely that
So
argument.
would you say though that now veganism is taken a lot more is much more appreciated or less, I would say, made fun of per se than several years ago?
Oh yeah, definitely less than several years ago, but it's still like
It still happens.
It's still-
the
it's
fact
still
that I'm
considered-
still doing it is like
Yeah.
part of it. That it's still part of pop
Yeah.
culture to make fun
Still
of veganism.
considered
Yeah.
taboo in a sense?
it's still.
there's so many vegan jokes we have. Like
Yeah.
how many vegan jokes we were making this morning? you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Now you know
exactly.
someone's vegan.
behind my back. Behind
No,
my
no, it was
back.
actually to you. You were here.
Well, then,
Oh my God, it's so hot in here.
talking about animal rights once again, a few weeks ago, Tamar, you actually brought up an interesting
Yeah, in our group chat.
question, about farmers' rights. Veganism obviously has a tremendous impact on the farming industry. So, as a vegan, Jen, how would you explain to farmers, or why you don't necessarily want their products, or to on the far end of the scale, as a big devil's advocate, support their lives? Because in a sense, by eating meat,
jobs.
it's their jobs on the line.
Okay, actually, interesting story. There was this one butcher. He owned a farm, whatever. He ended up completely, long story short, he ended up completely changing his farm and he turned it into a facility to produce vegan meat. And he ended up making
Vegan meat?
Yes,
Okay.
Not like actual meat.
You have my attention.
like 20 million euros a year or something like that. But the point is, I
But
think
not every
you're-
farmer has an ability to
obviously
transform
not.
their
But
thing, right? So it's
again,
it's
or
classic.
if you're talking about
it's-
if you're talking about jobs, the Beyond Meat factory opened up and it created a whole bunch of new jobs. So it's kind of like technology. You know how they say technology is coming for our jobs, but realistically, I think there will be different jobs, but I don't think they will replace our jobs. It's the same with I think the
Oh, you mean
vegan
they-
industry.
They are replacing our
They
jobs.
are replacing, but
the shift of jobs
yeah.
is going to be different. It's going to be more tech based.
It's
The
gonna be more-
general
yeah,
the
yeah.
general amount of jobs in our
But that's
country
just
will be
it.
text based.
It'll change, but I don't think it's gonna completely. There's gonna
Yeah,
be
we
new
evolve.
jobs. Yeah, we evolve, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the same thing with veganism. As the demand for veganism goes up, there will be different companies opening up, different factories opening up. There will be new jobs. So but I get the concern for people who have jobs and stuff like that. like that's definitely a real thing, right? Like the whole classist part of veganism.
Okay,
Like,
but like for the basic definition of veganism, it's like anything that was made by an animal you can't consume,
Yeah.
or any animal. Okay, so then how about like with not the Beyond Meat that's going on, but they're actually making progress for lab grown meat.
yeah, we were talking
So
about that.
I'm like, does that count as vegan, or
yeah,
does it not?
a bunch of vegans said they would eat it. For me, I
Because
wouldn't.
it's not actually like
Yeah,
like an animal is being exploited. It's
central
actually
nervous
muscle
system
tissue. It's
isn't
actual
there,
muscle
yeah.
muscle tissue that just gets developed
Yeah.
into a burger patty.
Personally,
and I'm like,
I wouldn't eat it just because I don't trust it. Like that, that seems completely unnatural to me, and I don't
Right.
know. I
I'm a
wouldn't.
picky eater.
Yeah, and like I don't want to like eat something that was grown out of like some
like a lab.
lab.
But-
Like I just want to.
but people were, but by that principle, the lab is very clean and hygienic and stuff like that. It's a lot more safer than all of these factory grown farms.
Agreed.
and
what do you?
stuff
Not
like
only
that.
factory grown.
But what about
things.
chemicals? Like I guarantee
There,
that's
that's the
gonna be-
different
yeah.
argument, though, that we don't know the side effects of consuming that kind of
it's
meat.
so
That's
new.
Also,
different,
on a
though.
side note, like, have you guys ever gone to a grocery store and taken produce from a grocery store? Like, do you have any idea how many people touch that
Yeah.
stuff? How many germs?
That's
are
true. You
on
have
it?
to clean it. Yeah.
Do you know, like,
Yeah.
literally the people putting them out? Like, my mom was telling me on Saturday that she had seen someone, like, one of the guys who was putting the tomatoes on the shelves.
Yeah.
He sneezed on it, like, literally onto the tomatoes. She's like, okay, no
Oh.
tomatoes this week.
Uh,
No, so after that,
Yeah.
I wash all my fruits. This is so random, but I wash all my fruits and vegetables with
Oh,
soap.
I think
Ugh.
With
I
soap?
think that's a
Yeah.
give. Man, I was so.
Well, it's also,
Soap,
I know apples.
they
you have
also
to
have,
to get rid of the
fruit
wax,
wash.
though. At least
the
right?
wax.
I don't eat apples. I don't know. But as a vegan, like, do you find that, like, like I know a lot of vegans say that it helps them lose weight or it helps them, live a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah, I definitely lost a lot of weight when I went vegan. Like I wasn't even like I wasn't overweight or anything like that. But yeah, it does just naturally happen, and it's not about like cutting out fats or carbs. It's about having like good fats, good carbs. So you have more of that because I guess like you have to replace those fats. You replace them with good fats. Good fats help you lose weight.
But red meat tastes very good.
Yeah.
That's-
Okay,
Not
that
red
is
meat,
completely
that's
off topic.
Well,
You're like, you're offending me right now.
Yeah.
Stop talking
How-
about red meat.
So before you went vegan, how? Actually, let me ask a different question. Why? I want to go back again to the vegetarian question. I understand not eating meat on the but how come it's not okay in your view to necessarily eat food provided or created by the animals, right? Even let's
Like
say
milk. You're not killing
Or
the
Yeah,
animals.
cheese,
to
yeah.
have it.
Well, you're
Exactly.
not killing it, but it's still insanely cruel. They literally have machines like
They're just
attached to their
sucking
udders. Like,
the-
But
it's,
what if it's an ethical
there is
farm?
Is there an ethical farm?
No, not a like.
Well,
no.
a non-factory farm.
Unless
No,
the
not
unless,
even.
even if the farmer is like actually
Yeah.
like, what do you call it? Milking the udder.
Yeah, like
There you
it's
go.
still pretty cruel because like you're exploiting the animal. They don't want their udders milked.
They want
Like-
no, but they want the milk to be fed to their
it's
to
for
their
their
kids.
babies.
So
Like,
it's like the simple like I don't drink milk.
yeah, and even
I drink
like,
almond milk and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I hate things that are supposed to taste like meat or
Yeah,
or
I can
milk.
agree with that.
Ugh, I can't eat any of that stuff. Fake
yeah.
cheese.
Yeah, I can
Ugh.
agree with that. I hate
Yeah.
fake cheese. I think it's
Lactate.
terrible. But some people really like it, so I don't know.
I don't know
but,
why.
The fake
It's
cheese
disgusting.
specifically?
Yeah.
What's that stuff called? Seitan, like the fake
Oh,
meat.
I
say
love
seitan is Satan.
If it is
Satan.
disgusting.
prepared properly, it is delicious. But what
They
were we-
artificially inseminate cows for milk.
Yeah, and also like
Ooh.
According
true.
to Habiba.
the way.
Oh, that's just very common
That's very
practice in
cruel.
the farming
Yeah, and
industry.
they literally like, rip
Yeah.
their babies away from them. Like,
It's disgusting.
and again, eggs are a different story.
and they're
'cause,
like always pregnant, right? Like as soon as
Yeah,
one one
yeah.
child comes out, like
the next
they're
one's
gonna
coming
they're
out,
gonna
like,
immediately
yeah.
impregnate them after. So it's like
Yeah.
it is a very unethical process
Yeah,
for it to
yeah,
do, right?
It's like very exploitative.
People don't like to talk about that
Yeah.
because they see a couple YouTube videos on it and they see like just animal cruelty and then
Yeah.
they're like, oh my god, but they never realize that like that happens every day here in Canada,
Yeah.
all the
So
time in
also-
all these countries.
Also, Jen's uncle Perry asked a question: is it okay to raise a vegan infant or child? And I think I'd like to answer that. I'm sure other people can chime in too. I think by the same vein, like, is it okay to raise a kosher child? Is it okay to
Yeah.
raise a halal, like,
Child.
raise a child on any
A
kind of,
meativore.
I
like-
yeah, on
like,
any kind of diet?
We're
Yeah.
literally, is it okay to raise children to eat meat? Like, we're all like socially kind of like constructed in a way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just that I think it's just that we're going against the norm that kind of bugs people. But
There's also a lot of curiosity of where vegans get their protein. Meat and dairy are high sources of protein, so if you don't eat those, where do vegans get
Your
their protein
beans.
per se?
Like
Yeah, it's really, I don't know why this is so
lentils,
complicated.
beans,
Yeah.
chickpeas, garbanzo
I'm just
beans.
asking questions
Chickpeas
that
and
I
garbanzo beans
found
are the
are
same
very
thing.
common
I didn't
for
mean to be like,
Come on.
vegans.
I don't know why
Daniel,
this is so
Daniel, just so
complicated.
you know, chickpeas and garbanzo beans are actually the same thing.
They're
Hey,
literally
they're
the
so good. I
exact
named them
same
twice.
thing.
That's
okay,
why.
yeah. Moose. Oh.
No, but I was
think,
like
yeah.
that too. I was so confused. I was like,
Like,
garbanzo.
why are you just reading the other
I
side
don't know,
of the label?
Oh, the label, yeah, it's like the French label. But
I ask these questions for our viewers who
I
say
personally
don't
do, like-
know
I-
about
Yeah.
veganism and
Most people
protein.
do
Yeah,
kinda
Elliot's question
know.
is
I
a
don't
very
know.
fair question.
Okay,
That's
okay,
something
I
I ask
agree.
vegans all the time.
I didn't mean to be rude. Like,
yeah,
You
I
were
don't get why
very,
it's so
Jen, you were
common.
very rude. I don't think we're gonna be able to have you back on our show.
I mean,
kidding.
yeah,
I
I
love
guess
you.
Daniel answered
mean,
that right there.
but yeah, it's like it's difficult. I don't know. Like maybe I should try actually the Beyond Meat stuff in the.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
'cause-
I haven't actually tried any of this
It's
stuff,
really
so
good.
that's why I'm being skeptical behind it.
Even
I mean,
right
that's why
now-
I'm maybe doing those jokes, but it's like
Even right now, though, nobody's answered the question: where
Yeah.
do vegans get their
Daniel
protein?
answered
I
it.
literally
Daniel
answered it
literally
for
What,
them.
answered it.
Beans,
Beans?
refried
Chickpeas
beans,
and
black beans, brown-
garbanzo beans.
Yeah, exactly.
Specifically the
Tofu,
same type of bean.
Plant milk,
Almond milk,
nuts.
Nut milk.
like, nuts, cashews,
Okay,
peanuts.
calm down.
Literally,
You
I'm
love that.
I'm straight up asking for the list.
I don't like. I literally. Considering I'm not a vegan, I think I did a pretty good job
Yeah, you
naming
did
most
do
of
a very
them.
good job.
So it's like, do you only
Do
get your
better.
protein from like meat? Like I don't
Yeah.
do that either. Like,
Yeah, even the new Canada Food Guide
Like-
called for like more plant-based protein resources.
Like for me,
Yeah.
like I eat meat maybe like once a week and twice a week maybe. Like
Get that down to
sorry,
0
I'm
and
saying
we're
what I'm talking about is
golden.
home cooked. What I'm saying is like home cooked
Jen,
meals.
the vegan
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah, like what I'm talking about is like home cooked meals, like where like we cook together
Yeah.
or something like that, right? But as much as like I used to like not like the taste of fish, and like that is a better, safer alternative. But I think the goal is to not eat meat like at all. But
I'm not touching.
I'm not either.
I don't know what that sound is.
Something shaking. And
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
not that big of a deal.
It's okay.
It's
but
a huge deal.
It is a huge deal.
I'm just kidding.
But
But yes.
I don't know. I just don't. I'm skeptical just because I do like my meat, but it's like
Me too.
I
it's
feel like for Sephardi, it'd actually be easier.
it's
Um,
easier if you don't tell them. Maybe.
Well, I'm thinking about it because Ruben, my husband, he's Sephardi, right? So
Yeah.
he comes. His family background is Tunisian, Moroccan, Algerian.
Yeah.
So a lot of the foods that I've had from his family, yeah, I mean there's a lot of like I'm just thinking about like Shabbat meals.
I'm thinking about like Moroccan soup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
like I've had that.
you still have fish. There's still like a lot of
stuff.
veal. I don't eat veal, which might be
Yeah.
hypocritical. I've never eaten veal ever.
Yeah.
I won't eat that just because like okay, maybe it's a little bit hypocritical because like it's still
you mean
an
baby
animal.
cow? Right?
Yeah, I won't eat any.
I'm sorry, I had to dumb it down.
My rule is that I won't
my
eat any
God.
animal that doesn't meander. So
Meander.
I know that's what my cousin said once, and I just always say it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I think we're definitely shifting towards a society that's more not
but
necessarily
it is
not necessarily
hypocritical. It's
vegan,
hypocritical.
What?
but like more
To
like
say
healthy.
to eat like other kind of
Cows,
beef,
and
but
then
not
be like,
baby beef.
I know.
It's the same
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
But
Now we have a comment coming in from Kyle Anderson, and
Oh.
he says
Some kind of vegan.
the only
That's my people.
oh okay
It's a vegan.
he says the
your
only
vegan peeps.
the only thing is that vegan protein sources usually have biased amino acid profiles, so you need more of a variety of sources compared to beef, which is more balanced. Very
That's any
interesting
diet.
take.
Don't you
That
think?
I didn't know about the amino acids.
Because also apparently I met a girl also who does I met a girl who's vegan, and she was telling me that she eats tons of nuts, she eats tons of foods that are like high in carbs. So she just said that it's just a different balance.
Yeah,
that
it
you
is
have to
just
eat.
different. It's like the is paleo the one where you only eat fats and no carbs?
Keto.
Keto. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like there's literally
That's
like
a fad
this
diet.
yeah, but you can
yeah, I had a yeah. Go
have
ahead.
like, carbs from fats, like if that makes like nuts and stuff like that. It's literally just a different.
Like when I used to work at the moving company, it was like one of the drivers. He was keto, right? We literally drove up to like not Perry Sound, but I don't know, like maybe up to one of the lakes or something like that. And he's a full on keto, and he's like pissed off because like Tim Hortons, I can't say that word. Timmy's, his keto option was horrible for them. It's like.
Yeah.
Like I do think like we need to shift into like more restaurants that are not vegan to have vegan options.
Yeah.
I think
It's
the
a work in
McDonald's thing.
progress.
I think the McDonald's thing is actually just a smart move.
Yeah,
because,
I agree with it.
and I think
It's,
more.
it's a capitalist move. I
I get
personally
it.
don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Wait, capitalist in what way though?
it's
Because
capitalist in
They're
the way
making a
that
profit off the
only
trend of
reason-
veganism.
They're not. No. What they're doing is they're not trying to be socially just in.
they're
or-
not, of course, but it
they're
does
kinda
end
just-
up being social. Even that.
They're
It's
making-
a, it's a triple.
it
It's a
doesn't,
trickle down
though.
effect.
Yeah,
though.
it
That's
It
why.
doesn't.
It
No,
is-
because they're not canceling out any of their meat. Like they're still not
yeah, but
stopping
even
with
if
their
you argue
cruelty.
that it's capitalist, like I kind of disagree in the sense that, like, people who don't benefit from capitalism can now access that. You know what I mean? Like, not just the
So the
middle,
most
upper
marginalized
class.
have more accessible options.
Yeah,
for
like
vegan.
that's what I'm like. So I think I get it. It's capitalist in the sense that like McDonald's is profiting off of like what they see maybe as a fad. And
Yeah.
No, but I
take
think
it
why
seriously.
McDonald's is doing it is because they see, okay, not you specifically, but people like you, like, okay, Jen's not going to buy at my store because I don't have vegan options. So in order for me to get Jen's money, I'm going to make an option for Jen.
Well, of course, that's just like okay, like you know.
Right, but they're not doing it out of like, okay, we're going to be
But that just goes like with anything. Like you know those people who will like go and do all these good things just to kind of like seem like good people, but aren't actually like.
Or they donate to the church. Or
Yeah,
something.
like exactly. Like, maybe they're not a good like, but like it benefits people. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think like it's like, if we're gonna see this trend to keep increasing, like what was the first stat you gave us? Where was it 1% vegans? What year was it?
It went from
2014,
in
I believe?
2014, 1% of U.S. consumers claimed to be vegan, and in 2017 it rose to 6%.
So we can easily see like in 10 years that could rise to like 12% or something like
Yeah.
that. And then when that happens, we're gonna see a trickle down effect where not only McDonald's has the vegan options,
Yeah.
but Chipotle does, Wendy's does.
I feel like-
the Eaton Center will have a full-on vegan restaurant. Like
Yeah.
they're
Do
gonna
they
be more
not?
dine-in like vegan
Don't they have
restaurants.
that salad
they
place?
do, yeah.
Oh, okay, but it's like
I feel like in your culture it'd actually be kind of because don't you
in my culture.
Yeah, because you have like beans and
It would be
Lentils.
easier because we use lentils a lot. We use beans a lot.
Yeah.
Like literally, my dad, like he's so picky when he was younger. All he used to eat was like refried beans and tortillas.
Yeah,
That's just
yeah.
him as a picky person.
Yeah.
But like, I think vegan options already exist.
Yeah,
and
that's-
all we need to do is just cut off the meat because
Yeah.
like carne asada is just so good. It's just like really thinly chopped steak with like sautéed and like sauces with chimichurri or whatever. Like that looks it's bomb. But because like we have the culture, like we like to we enjoy making those special meals like that, like
it's
all
like
the
a
time.
family, like
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
family thing, so
But
it's
meat
like
is also in so many cultures.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're ever going to get to a point when we're going meatless, even if you're feeling that
I
it's
not in the near future, but I do like
know.
when push comes to shove, like it's kind of like you got to do something about the environment. Like you know what I mean? Like are
okay,
we
but
really?
there's also that argument is, does veganism really help the environment?
Yes, absolutely. Like
But
greenhouse gas.
that's what
emissions.
vegans say. But there's
No,
also an
but,
argument
like,
coming from the other side.
The UN did a like legitimate
A
report,
report
and
on
like UN the greenhouse gas emissions that come from humans, it's like the number one is animal agriculture. It's more than like transportation.
Well, it costs like the carbon footprint when you produce meat is significantly higher than the carbon footprint
Yeah,
when you create vegetables and stuff like
If-
that, right?
But it's not just that. I took
it's not, obviously not just animal agriculture.
No, but I took a course, and not that this makes me like a genius in it, but I just remember learning one point
Yeah.
that was interesting was that like I don't know if it was specifically about veganism or about vegetarian, but like if you make veggie burgers, right? You have to freeze them and you need to, make them in mass production. So like all the equipment that you're using, the electricity that you're using there, and the electricity you're using to store it and to keep it frozen, like that's not great on the environment
It's
either.
not, but but it's not about being perfect, right? It's about that it's still much better than like animal agriculture. And I think it was like in 2050 they said if the world went vegan, which is obviously like a very like whatever, greenhouse gas emissions would be reduced by like 3/4.
Wow.
So
Quarters, true.
yeah,
Wow.
So, in
That's a big
terms
one.
of
that's a lot.
it is a lot.
the future of veganism, there are already many vegan restaurants. You have Parkdale in Toronto that has been dubbed Vegandale. It goes again, we've talked about it. Will the whole world become vegan, or is it just a prolonged fad? Now, Jen, you say that you see a future that is meatless, whereas to Mars, you don't think there's a future that with completely meatless.
Well, just because I think that it ignores some cultures and people's backgrounds.
I'm gonna reverse that and say I think I see a future without factory farming. Maybe not meat.
Oh yeah, factory
Okay.
farming's terrible.
factory
yeah.
farming. Maybe not meatless, but factory farming.
I think people should become self-sufficient when they do this. I was having when I went on my DC trip, I made some friends with some people from Penn State Barron, which is like the equivalent of like Western University in Pennsylvania. Like in terms of like population, like 100,000. The point is we started talking about like consumption of like meat, and we got onto this topic, and it was like specifically one student there, like his hometown, he's in a hometown of like 5 or 7,000 people, and he hunts regularly, like to get deer and stuff like that. And he goes to a butcher to make sure that he doesn't waste any meat or anything like that, or he gives the rest to someone else to use it. But I think that would be a more better idea, especially if people have suburbs. If they have a little patch of grass where they can probably take care of a couple chickens and like some small animals or something like that, it would be a lot. It would be a lot more ethically better to eat meat like that than in the sense of factory farming and stuff like that. So,
Yeah. Jen, do you want to open a vegan farm in my backyard?
Yeah, let's do
Oh
it.
my god, yeah, I'm so excited.
Now, how do you see, Jen? So let's say you don't want a future with factory farming. What can we do
I think all of
to?
us should want a future
Yeah,
without
without
factory,
factory
farming.
regardless if you eat meat or
That's
not.
fair.
It's
all
really
shit
fun.
on Elliot.
I saw there's another thing about veganism that I often see online. Speaking of, just because you're talking about factory farming, it's a very good segue for that. Very often, a lot of people will say, like, we're talking about genocide. We talk about, people being killed and killing people. But what about the animal genocide? Very often, I'll see memes in vegan groups that I'm in.
Memes.
Yeah, memes. A picture. I mean, it's not really funny, but
No,
like.
yeah, that's
What,
what
vegan
they'll
memes?
post-
making
No,
memes. about.
people will literally take picture, like the classic photo of people in Auschwitz, and say, "Why was this not
Oh,
okay?"
yeah.
And then factory farming,
Only
and say,
find
"But
some
this is
vegan
okay."
memes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
been one of the biggest debates.
Yeah,
is,
so
like,
I wanted to ask
comparing it
you.
to Auschwitz. Are we talking about specifically like comparing it to Auschwitz? What I think.
Not
about it?
specifically Auschwitz, but comparing it to human genocide. Like,
It depends on whether you see humans and animals as.
but do you still would see that? Like, people, what do they call it? They call it the.
I don't like conflating things. I see these as two separate issues. I just see animals being killed in masses, and I don't like it. But I don't like the idea of comparing
that
it to
good,
human
but-
genocide in the same. Like, I don't like the whole conflation of. Like, that's the one thing I hate when people like will look at anything and be like, "This is like the Holocaust." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's
Even
like-
another human.
Yeah. Like, I don't like the conflation of it. Just treat it as a separate issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have another comment that came in
From Pierre.
From it just
Oh yeah, Daniel, you want to translate
yeah.
that?
Please translate
Okay,
because it
fine.
was in English and then it
Is
went
this
away.
the guy who's teaching you?
They want like we want to have a deal or whatever. But
Mhm.
we don't have a deal.
You want to have a deal? What
So
kind
he
of deal?
says, go ahead.
then okay. So he's talking about some like specialty like beef that's like cooked like once a month, pretty much is good for the brain. I guess that's what he's saying. Like it's actually have positive benefits for the brain. Hold
that's
on.
Oh,
not-
there we go. Now it's
Doesn't
translated.
everything have positive-
Yeah.
I have it.
So he's saying there's good actual like amino acids found in fish and stuff like that.
And eggs.
Yeah,
No, not
I was
amino
saying-
acids. Omega-3, I think.
I have it translated
Yeah.
now. if
No,
you
I
wanna
want
read
to
it. No, you
translate
want to
it
go?
myself.
Wow. Okay.
Those amino acids.
He said veganism is there's no scientific no. Would you read
No,
that
it says veganism is scientific.
Oh, okay.
Although
Never mind.
well-intentioned. See, I'm pretty good at Spanish.
Yeah,
Well-intentioned
you're
for
pretty
animals.
good at
To
Google
English.
Translate.
And to summarize, good intentions is made hell. And then he mentioned your name. Translate, please. A hug.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
it means the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah,
That's
that's
Yeah.
what he's
the-
probably
That's-
saying. That's exactly what he's
I
trying
don't.
to say.
But like, what is? Can someone like? What is the negative? Like, you know what I mean?
the
like,
negative of not eating meat.
Like, yeah. Like, what will happen? Like, do people actually think that's gonna be the road to hell? Not eating meat?
I remember The Simpsons did some episode where they cut meat out of their diet and they went crazy, but that was more because
let's
because-
compare
Would you rate
humans to the Simpsons.
No, but that's
Okay,
because
The
but they used to
Simpsons
eat all the
is
time. No, they used to
I'm
eat
sorry.
meat
You
all
know
the
what's wrong with
time.
Daniel? His
And
role
it's
models
like-
are the
But
Simpsons.
it's like I don't know why.
Not from last episode. We learned some other things about Daniel.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Anyways.
But
And,
it doesn't make any sense though. It's like
Well, Habiba has a comment that says mercury and other gunk we throw into the ocean is also in our fish.
I would also say
So-
plastic as well. I was
Yeah.
reading someone saying that like when plastic actually breaks down to the molecular level, like fish just naturally consume it when they use their gills, right?
You know what
it's
someone
like,
told me?
That
Someone
goes right
told
into
me-
us when we eat them.
My cousin told me that if you don't wash your plastic before you recycle it, it just goes straight to the landfill.
Yeah.
So everyone wash your plastic.
Yeah, no,
I don't know,
it's
that's
true
related
because
to
anything that
veganism.
has food, even like when you get like jars and stuff like that, you gotta rinse them out. And, but,
I just learned that.
yeah, no, me too. Actually, to be honest with you, I wasn't.
Now, Jen, with a couple minutes in the show remaining, personally, what do you want to see in the future? Like your dream,
My dream world.
your dream world.
The vegan dream.
Well, I mean, again, like this kind of goes back to like, do you see like a meatless world? And I like to, as much as I like to be idealistic, I'm gonna be also realistic. I don't see a meatless world, but I see a world with no factory farms. So that's for me what I would like to see.
Are there any countries or places in the world where they have
Us.
banned factory farming?
No.
I don't
I don't
think
think
so.
so.
I think there are countries like some Nordic countries are very doing well in terms of sustainability right now, but I don't think they've outlawed factory farming completely.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But that's what you would want to see, Jen, right?
Yeah.
And Tamar, what do you want to see in the future?
I completely agree. I know I guess I'm a little bit hypocritical, but nobody's perfect. I do agree. I do agree with animal rights, and I do agree with like the concept of veganism. I do try my best. I know I say this, I'm still a hypocrite, but I really do see benefits in veganism, and I really do see health benefits as well as environmental benefits. And I totally agree with Jen. I would really like to not see factory farms and not see animals that, you know, whether they're being used for whatever purpose, should not be being abused.
Yeah, abused and exploited is like
Yeah.
my main thing I don't want to see.
But you would be okay with, I mean, I guess we talked about it. There's really no ethical farming, you would say, right?
Well, it's not
Is
about
there?
farming. Like, there are some cultures where they hunt, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's not the same as factory farms. So, like, for myself, like, again, I say, like, just no factory farms. I'm not going to, like,
Would you ban hunting?
realistically... No, I'm not,
Okay.
because I'm not going to police other cultures. Like, you know what I mean? I see that as wrong. But,
Other people don't.
yeah, other people don't, which I do
Hence
think
where you get the definition
of,
or
like,
the stereotype of
whole, like,
the
white
angry, annoying
veganism.
white
Yeah,
vegan.
yeah. Which I don't like, and I think is a bit of a problem in the vegan community. But that's another topic. But yeah.
Very interesting. Daniel, final thoughts.
I think I would say I want to find a world that has more extensive research on lab-grown meat to see if there actually is a positive benefit. Because if we actually find a way where it's not like GMOs where you actually know what's going to happen to us, like side effects. If there isn't any, I'd want to see more push in that, because that would create an even bigger push to reduce our carbon footprint. But yeah, I'm an idealist as well, so that's not probably going to happen.
I actually want to go back to the whole hunting thing. If it's not part of your culture, I don't want to see you do it.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Like, if it's like, if you're just
What
like
if you move to a
what would you
remote
say-
area?
What would you say culture in
Like,
terms of religious, ethnic? What kind of culture?
no, like if it's not, if you're literally just doing
It doesn't
it
have
for
to
fun.
be that specific.
Yeah,
Like
like
you're
it's not
going
that
hunting
specific.
as a sport.
Like, I don't want to see that. But if it's like a cultural thing, that's very different.
yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah.
like, I'd probably go hunting and get an animal, but I would make sure I cook it, and I wouldn't make sure the animal gets wasted and stuff like
Right,
that.
but that's
if I were-
what would.
But that's
be
not
your
if
reason
it's not
of going.
cultural for you, then I don't.
No, I understand why people would be against that for being culture, but it's
Habiba
like-
keeps saying, "OMG, cultures change. Hunting is never okay." I mean, I don't know. There's a big. I don't know if we have time to even talk about this. 'Cause
Yeah, we
we
do.
have about a minute.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh well, it's kind of a big thing. I know
It
a
is a big
couple
thing,
a
yeah.
couple years ago, or maybe it was last year or something. I don't know. I saw in the news that there was an indigenous boy who had hunted a whale, and it became a huge thing. But a lot of people, there was pushback from both sides, right? There was a pushback from the vegan community saying, you know, this is terrible. You hunted a whale. It's the type of whale it is being extinct. Like, this is totally not okay. But then you see all the other people on the other side saying, you know, this is part of our culture. This is part of how, you know, we get food. Like, he fed a community for
With the
years
whale,
with
yeah.
this one whale.
Yeah.
Like, how can you?
I think policing the indigenous
Yeah.
community is inappropriate, and I don't.
Oh, like
Yeah,
When as soon as
policing
I've
any
done-
community
It's inappropriate.
Like, I did one essay about it, like talking about like how they were discriminated against like
Yeah.
in early forms of government, like with the governorship of James Douglas and stuff. And it's like they literally created all of these like fishing treaties specifically so
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
so that they couldn't fish,
And then I feel like
and so that they could take all the fish. So it's
and I
like
feel like yelling at them because that could be triggering. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's just
totally.
like let them fish, let the people fish.
I'm not. Yeah.
I think part of also the Canadian, like what the definition in Canada of what food sustainability is having access to culturally appropriate food. And I agree. I hear, Habiba, what you're saying, that cultures change, but also
And maybe
with-
they will. Like, you don't know what the
maybe
future
they
holds.
will.
Yeah.
Totally, maybe they will. But with all due respect, it's also like you can't force a culture to change because of
Well,
your belief.
That just goes okay with anything. If you are alienating more people than you're bringing in, you're doing it wrong, right? Like if
Yeah.
if your approach is turning people off so much, then like
Yeah.
you
I feel
can't.
like
you cannot
this-
It's
force-
true, and I agree. I totally get where Habiba's coming from, because I know for myself, like, I don't agree that nowadays the kosher meat industry is actually kosher
Yeah,
because of my
yeah,
beliefs of
yeah,
how
yeah.
kosher food is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Kosher meat is supposed to be killed.
Right.
I don't believe that they're doing that in the conditions that they're putting kosher chickens and cows
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
So I do agree that cultures change because you can
But
definitely
it's
make that
up
difference.
to you as a Jewish person to decide that for your community. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
But
it's not for
what's
like
one person? Like, I guess.
no one person. I get what you're saying, but like, I mean, like, it's up to you to critique your own
Or even like your
community.
family, community. That's
Yeah.
your decision, right?
Yeah,
So it's like,
Yeah.
Well, that was our show for this week. Thank you to everyone that tuned in and that messaged us live. Thank you, Jennifer, for being here. We really appreciate
Yay.
having you on the show. We'll be back next week with you for a brand new episode of the Raben Report. Same day, same time, same people. Have a great day, everyone.